making, as well as promote results-based national development and evidence-based policy processes. Various issues were raised for discussion at the convergence. Omar Job, the Executive Director of PROPAG, dealt with the perspective for improving the outcomes of the page.
We have to be proactive by preparing for expected changes, but better still, we should be proactive by provoking the desired changes that can lead to development with the human face.
The issues of policy and legal environment necessary for generating investment, employment, and growth were treated by Almami Tal, while Lamin Damfa of the Ministry of Trade, Regional Integration and Employment touched on the issue of policy and legal environment necessary for generating investment and employment.
We have at our disposal now tools and technologies that are capable of changing the way development is done and the way that the freedoms of people can be enlarged, the way that people can become more fulfilled and feel that their lives on this earth in the Gambia is worthwhile.
A minimum amount of $250,000 US. And the creation of the GAIPA Act also enabled government to establish certain departments within the GAIPA, specialized departments that promote export, that will help and work with Gambians, businesses, to be able to promote export. Make export processes more simplified and more friendly to those who are engaged in business of export.
Alaji Fadera is the Director of Development Planning at the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs and one of the architects of the page.
Even if we are able to produce a lot of goods and services and we are not competitive as a country, we will not be able to sell this product. And if we look at the structure of the economy and we look at the export vis-a-vis the import, we know that we really need to enhance the export potentials of this country so that we will be able to bring in extra foreign exchange, and this will at least help us stabilize and strengthen the dollar vis-a-vis other countries.
After what can be described as intensive deliberation by the technicians, the floor was open for suggestions and recommendations, with Ahmad Ba of NRP taking the lead in raising concerns over what he observed as the non-inclusion of opposition parties in the formation and review of the document and the lack of proper and efficient information database for research. Many others, including Dominic Mendy of M&E Consulting, raised concern of resource mobilization for the implementation of the Strategic Development Plan, said to be the conveyor belt or building stone of the country's development goals for the next 4 years. In another development, which also connected to activities marking NGO Week, a forum was held to discuss and share best communication practices by non-state actors. The forum brought together NGO institutions such as Tango, St. Joseph's Family Farms, and West African Network for Peace, Freedom from Hunger Campaign, among others. They share with participants some of the communication methods and channels used in reaching out to their target beneficiaries. Key among these is the use of community radios, which they believe have yielded much dividend in helping to better the lives of many in rural Gambia. Aissatou Badiane Sarr, GRTS.
Well, you can also follow that story and other GRTS programs live on www.grts.gm. There you can also monitor GRTS radio live. Time now to take our first break. When we come back, we'll take a look at the international news. Stay tuned then. Welcome back. The United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon has denounced the Syrian regime, in his words, the indiscriminate shelling of the entire neighborhood in its ongoing crackdown on protesters in and around the capital Damascus. This came as the UN General Assembly voted overwhelmingly on a non-binding resolution urging Damascus to end the crackdown. China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea are among the 7 countries that voted against the measure. The Syrian government is still blaming terrorist groups for most of the violence. Let's take a look at this report for more on that.
Bashar al-Assad's forces pounded the rebel town of Homs Friday morning. It was the heaviest shelling of Homs in a 2-week offensive. With an average 4 rockets per minute, according to the opposition, the regime continued its operation of devastation, both to punish the insurgents in the beleaguered protest town and to respond to the United Nations vote in New York. With an overwhelming majority of 137 votes against 12, including China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea, the UN General Assembly voted in favor of a resolution condemning the crackdown in Syria. Although it's not binding, the resolution denounces violence regardless of its source and asks the regime to immediately cease violating human and fundamental rights. While the Syrian ambassador to the UN portrayed his country as the victim of a terrorist plot, in Vienna, the UN Secretary General denounced the regime's crimes against humanity.
We see neighborhoods shelled indiscriminately, hospitals used as torture centers, children as young as 10 years old jailed and abused. The longer we debate, the more people will die.
The French foreign minister had earlier expressed his country's support for the Arab League's efforts.
We want to continue working with the Arab League to put its plan into place and ensure political transition. In other words, power should be transferred to the Syrian vice president to constitute a government of national unity and to prepare free elections.
Alain Juppé had also qualified as a farce the proposal made by Bashar al-Assad to hold a referendum on the new constitution on February 26, while he continued killing his own people.
Let's now take a quick look at the weather report, courtesy of the Central Forecast Office.
The Gambia is endowed with a wonderful landscape full of baobab trees. Like its Cape Point in Bakau, it is one of the most exotic sceneries in the world. The baobab tree is a symbol of resilience, wisdom, and resourcefulness. For the baobab tree provides good food in times of hunger, rents its bark for medications, and its sap for glue. In the Gambia, there is a company like the baobab tree, 100% African and purely Gambian in all aspects, in know-how, design, value, capital, and management. That company is Elton. Elton, employing hundreds of Gambians and proudly associating itself with development in the Gambia. Elton, side by side with the Gambia.
It's a warm welcome to the weather segment, and from the Central Forecast Office, I am Hadichoy presenting. We begin with the summary followed by the forecast. It was mainly warm and sunny, especially in the afternoon today over the entire country. And to know what prevailed over the rest of the continent, we propose a look at the image captured at 1700 hours, indicating the presence of convective clouds over the south, central and the southern part of the continent. Elsewhere indicated clear skies and stable conditions over the period. For the forecast tonight, we'll be expecting a cool, breezy and occasionally windy conditions to prevail over the entire country onwards morning, whilst the day tomorrow will be sunny, warm and breezy. Winds will continue to be northerly in orientation but generally light to moderate in speed. For the minimum temperatures, we'll be expecting 18 degrees Celsius over Banjul, 20 over Yundum, Kerewan and Sibanor, whilst